Hello everyone, welcome back to Python in plain English. Today we are learning about variables, what they are, how to name them properly and correctly, how to use them, how to print them using F strings. And by the end of this lesson, you will be able to write clean, readable Python code. Now, the types and the kind that professionals use, okay? So let's go. So in our last class, we stopped at this. We stopped at print hello world. So when you run the code right here, you should see hello world. Can you see that right here? Hello world. So that means our code is working perfectly fine. So we use the word print. Now the word print is used to um, bring out the output of whatever code we write or whatever program we write, right? And we will see the output here in the console or the terminal, right? All right. So let's move on. Now study the code we wrote. We started with print, then we created a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis or the parenthesis. Am I getting this pronunciation correctly? Parenthesis, yes. Inside the parenthesis, we have hello world encapsulated in the double quotation marks. Awesome. So now, with what you can see, can you print your name? Let me print my name. Print David. That's my name, David. So let's run that. See that. So you to do that on your system. Let's go. All right. Now that we have done that, sorry about that. Now that we have done that, let's talk about variables. What's a variable? Variable is a container. See it as a container, a labeled box where we store information. Think about a box and think about a label written on it. The label can be a name, right? It can be something like that, right? So think of it as a name, right? A labeled box where we store information. And you can store different things in this box. You can store text, you can store numbers, you can store even results of calculations. So the reason why we label this box is so that Python can remember what we put in the box, so that we can use it later. Yes. So when we label the box correctly, Python remembers what we put inside the box, the value inside the box, so that we can use it again, right? All right. So let's pick a variable. Let's write a variable. Let's say I just typed my name, right? I just printed my name. So let's print now. Let's get a variable called. So let's pick a variable, and this variable is called name. And inside this name variable, we are going to print my name, right? David. So name is Ben. Good. So you can see that we have actually now what's the variable here? Name is the variable here. What's the value of the variable? Then to see the variable as see it as a box, right? And on top of this box is the box is labeled name. And the value, what's inside the box is called what? David Ben. That's the value. That's it, really. Like we said, the Python is very simple. So what do we do next to print out David Ben? We write print, and inside the parentheses, what do we write? Do we write David Ben again? No, because we have a variable. So we write the name of the variable, which is name. Cool. Then we print that and we see David Ben. That's apart from hello world. See David Ben. You see that that's how it basically works. So variables are simple, very simple. But there are rules guiding this game, right? We don't just do stuff anyhow. Meanwhile, before we talk about the rules, you can also store numbers inside variables. So let's pick a variable, and I want to store my age, sorry, in the variable. So let's write age is equals to how old am I? I am 98. Oh, I'm 98 with my long beard. I'm just picking. That wasn't funny. Okay, so print. So what will I put in my parentheses? Age, right? The name of the variable, age. And let's run that. Now, at this point, I can remove hello world. We don't need that anymore. Good. We can just fill up the space. You can leave that space there. It's fine. So the first thing we got printed was print name, and that was David Ben. Printed my age, and that was 98. Do you see that? So instead of writing 98 here, I just have to write 98 in my variable and what print it. Awesome. So talking about the rules that guide variables. The first thing you should know is that we use descriptive names when naming variables. For example, I want to print my name, and instead of me naming the variable name, I name it X. No, that's wrong. Forget about this. That's wrong. So we don't do that. What we do instead is that we give it a descriptive name, which is name, because my name is David. So I should use the word name. I shouldn't use X or Y or Z. Or I want to print my age and I just write A. That doesn't make sense, right? So it should be age so that anyone, including other developers, can know what you're doing, can know what you are up to, even without using comments. We'll talk about comments. All right. The next thing we should know is that when naming variables, we use something we call the snake case, or we use underscores. So let's say I want to write my name. This consists of my name and surname, right? So I just write name and underscore surname. That's if I want to do that. Of course, the word name covers all of that. But if I want to be more specific, then I come down here and also update it here. Name, surname. Good. Then we will see it run. Now let's run the code. David Ben and my age. Did you see that? So we use underscores to also, but the letters come first, right? And underscores, but numbers do not come first when naming variables. Let's try and use a number to name this variable. Right, 9. They print 9. Of course. Now what happens here? Syntax error cannot assign to literal here. So you see that even Python is confused. Like, what are you trying to do? You're naming a variable as your name, you're naming it 9. That doesn't make sense, right? So we don't use numbers, right? We can add a number along the way. We can say name and put an underscore 9. That's if it makes sense to you. You can do that. Then also here you come down and also update it. So make sure you always update it, especially when you make errors also. Make sure you always update it when printing a variable. So you can see it runs perfectly. Awesome. So we start with the letter underscore, but not a number. Now we don't also add spaces. So I want to write name 9. Then I move the underscore and just put this space here, space right here. Then I also come down here too and remove the space. I think I'm wise. And I run it and expecting it to work, and I see invalid syntax. I made a mistake. I did something wrong. What was I supposed to do? I was supposed to add an underscore between them and fill up that space. Okay. So once I do that here, okay, sorry about that. Once I do that here and I run it, can you see David Ben 98? Good. Another thing you should know is that variables are case sensitive. So there's a difference between name equals to David and name 9. There's a difference between, in fact, between these two. The difference between these two. Do you see that? There's a difference between these two. Should we check out the difference? Okay. Print name. Let's see what is printed out. We see David Ben and we see David. So we can see that these two are different. Of course, this is all lowercase. This is the first letter here is uppercase and the rest lowercase. But they are different, right? So Python is case sensitive, and we always encourage people to use lowercase, right? Not really must, but it's better with you. You do that, yes. just to stay from confusion. Now, another thing you should know is that don't use Python keywords or built-in names. So, for example, you want to name your variable print. Print is equals to David Ben. You now write what here? Print. Does that make sense? No, it does not. Does not. So we avoid that. We tell people not to use words like print, list. I want to write a list of numbers. I write list is equals to and puts in bracket 1, 2. No, that's wrong. We don't do that here, right? All right. So we'll stop here on that for today. I mean, we'll for now. We'll stop there on how to name variables. So we've learned that. We have my age here. So I want to combine this information to look professional, to look good, to actually give the user information about me, to give information about me, right? So I can do print name here, and all I just get is my name and age separately. But what if I want them together on the same line? What do I do? Very simple. I write print, right? Then I use something called an F string. This F string should be before your double quotation or single quotations. So we put that there. And then we write my name is, instead of writing David Ben, what do? I put a curly braces and write name inside this curly braces. Now this name I'm writing the curly braces is the variable that we just named as David Ben, right? So that means wherever you see name, David Ben will appear there. That's what we mean by name is equals to David Ben. So wherever you see name, you're trying to say David Ben. Because so my name is name and I am now. Do we write my age 98 here? No, we write curly braces first, then we write age inside the curly braces. So I am 8 years old. Now that does not make sense yet, but let's say the magic. Oh, it's not magic, it's Python. Okay, my name is, see it here, awesome. My name is David Ben and I am 98 years old. Awesome. So that's how it basically works. So we use the F strings first of all. After writing print, open a parenthesis, use the F string, and then we wrote my name as a full sentence, put everything as a full sentence. Now, what made it possible for us to add the variables into this sentence is the F string. This is a modern way of writing sentences in Python. So we use the F string to make it possible. If we remove the F string and we run this code, what would happen? Let's check out what will happen. My name is name and I am 8 years old. Imagine seeing this on your website anywhere or seeing this on an app. You will be very confused, right? So let's run it again and we see. Awesome. So always take note of the F string. I always forgot that when I started learning how to code, I always forgot how to use the F string, or I forgot to use it. But as time progressed, I got to understand how important it is. Yes. So always take note of that. All right, let's talk about strings. What is a string? A string is a series of characters. For example, write print. Sorry about that. Print. I have 3 dogs. This is a string. A string is a series of characters that are inside a single quotation mark or a double quotation mark. So let's copy this and paste it again, but instead we replace them with single quotation marks. This is also a string. So a string is simply sentences most times that have numbers in them, but inside a quotation mark, right? When we are writing just numbers alone, like as we saw here, we don't need quotation marks for that. But mostly when we're writing sentences, we put no we put the curly braces, put the quotation marks also. So for example, watch this. I have three dogs. Let's run it. We see that it still works. I have three dogs. But when you when you print a number and you put it inside a single quotation mark or a double quotation mark, most times, even though it runs perfectly, we actually are telling Python that this number is a string and it is not a string, right? So most times Python will treat it as a string. That's why we advise that we don't that you shouldn't do that. Okay. All right. So let's play with some methods using um okay using strings. Let's do some things using strings. So for example, print name. So I want to make sure, okay, let me change something up here. So I want to convert my name. Let me remove my surname for now. I want to convert this name David into into string of letters, right? That the first letter starts with a capital letter and the rest small letters or lowercase and the first letter lowercase. What do? I write print name. Then inside this same parenthesis, I write dots title, right? Then put a parenthesis there, a bracket there, and run the code. And we can see that my name is printed as the. So you can see that it's that easy as me using the title method, right? What else can we use? What other methods can we? What if I want David to be all uppercase? Just use the word upper, yeah, upper. And I run the code David. Big letters. What if I want to make it all lowercase, like it already is? Just point again, David. So that's basically it. So let me show you the difference between them. So this for lower, upper, high two. You can see it's lower, upper, and awesome. So what if I want to write my first name and last name and I want to put all of them in a single line? What do I do? So my first name is what? David, right? If I'm asking you, I should know that David. And my last name is, then I can actually put it in single quotes. Yeah, not bad. So I'm going to create a variable that can take both first name and last name at the same time into it. I'm going to create a box big enough to take both first name and last name so that I can have my name, my first name and last name on the same line, right? Professionally looking. So I write full name, right? My full name is consists of both my first name and last name. So I write full name is equals to, remember we first use the F string and then double quotes. In this case, we write, first thing we do is to put what? The curly braces. The curly braces will help us to include these variables into a single line like we did initially. So we do write first name and last name. Awesome. Then what do we do with our new variable called full name? We'll print it out. Print full name. Let's run the code and see. David Ben. What if I want the full name? Okay. What if I want both David and Ben to start um its first letters with capital letter or with uppercase and the rest lowercase? What do I do? I do title in bracket here and also here plus title bracket, and I run it politely. David Ben. We can see how that works. Or instead of even doing that, really, what we can also do is that we can come to full name and do dot title bracket, and we see that that also works. For anyone that works for you, but for the sake of automation, we don't want to stress ourselves in this. I have to break it down. That's why I use the first method for us. But to not stress yourself, just get to the final variable, which is full name, and do dot title. Yes. For the sake of automation, right? All right. So we are going to stop here for today. I hope you've learned something. All right. Thank you. In case you have questions, please drop them in the comment section. In case you have any topic that I should teach you, please drop that in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Remember to subscribe and like the video. Drop a heartwarming comment. Tell me what you think about the tutorial, how we can improve. Thank you so much.